All right. Welcome into the Toilets to Titles podcast, episode number 4. I am your host, John Sheps. You can find me on Twitter at Coach Sheps. You can find the show on Twitter at Toilets to Titles. And you can find my main man right there, Justin Stevens, at JustinFF_. Justin, what's cooking?
Hey, how's it going, Coach? Hope you've had a great day so far.
I've had a pretty good day, man. I can't complain. Things have been good. I had a half a day at work due to some circumstances going on at home, and I did.
You're in a new location there, so
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I could spend some time showing around the room, but I don't know if I want to humble brag too much. That's an Ezekiel Elliott pylon back there. Here's something I will show. It's my high school football helmet right there.
Oh, nice.
You know, not too bad.
Nice.
Hopefully that's not incriminating. But anyway, it's nice to record in here because I do got a bunch of stuff. I got a box of Patrick Mahomes cereal over there. I need to get that signed. But I'm coming to you live from my room with all my nicks and knacks in my basement, and coming to you live with Justin. Tonight we have a few guests. This is the SFB 10 episode. Last week we talked about SFB a little bit, and some people messaged me and reached out to me that they really liked that content, and they need content like that to help them prepare for the draft coming up on July 6th. So I reached out to Justin because he's in it, and I'm not in it, but I've been in it before, and I play fantasy, so we can have conversation, we can discuss this. And we also reached out to 2 guests who are also in SFBX. And we figured, why don't we get the 4 of us on air, 3 of them who are in SFBX, kind of mix and match some thoughts and ideas, see if we can get some stuff out there to help anybody who is listening to this. But before we go any further, I want you to know you could find us on Podbean. You could watch us on YouTube if you are right now, the Toilets to Titles channel on YouTube. We share that link all the time. We're on Periscope. And eventually we're going to get onto iTunes. And we really appreciate all you guys listening, subscribing, and sharing. I know some of you, I have some family and friends who they share this thing on Facebook, even though they don't really care about fantasy football. So that's always appreciated because we're trying to grow this show a little bit. Now, I think that's it for the introduction. Let's move on to our first guest. All right, we have the Gridiron Scholar. If any of you are familiar with the Trifocal Football podcast I was doing last year, this cat won the championship belt for most times on Trifocal Football, and the fans have been asking, when are you going to bring John Laub on, the Gridiron Scholar? And luckily we were able to get him on today. John, how are you, my man?
I'm doing great, man. Summer officially started about a week ago because I'm a teacher.
Right.
So I've got plenty of time in the middle of the afternoon to join you 2 fine gentlemen.
Yeah, yesterday I reached out to him because we kind of threw this thing together a little last second, because it was something we felt was important to get out there. I reached out to John, like, hey, man, tomorrow we're recording at 1 o'clock. Can you come on? He's like, it's a lock. And it was almost, you ever watch cartoons where it's like somebody asks a question and they get the answer they want, but because it was so easy, they keep going with the conversation as if the person answered the other way. That's how it was with me. He answered yes, and I was like, oh, wait, like, yes, you can come on? He's like, yeah, man, it's a lock. So we got him on. He's on Twitter at Gridiron Schol, SCHOL 91, and he's a college fantasy football and NFL fantasy football analyst. He's the co-host of the College Fantasy Football on Campus and the Draft Seminar. I know last year it was my first year playing college fantasy football. Justin, you were in that league as well, right?
Yes, I was.
So I was using – John is constantly putting out content. He's a great dude. He's DMing me his new articles, his new videos, and he's filling me up with knowledge. And I'm really appreciative of that. John, can you tell us, before we get into SFB talk and bring on the other guests, I want to hear a little bit about college football. I'm a little nervous about how it's going to be this year. What is the state of college football as we speak?
So I'm trying to remain optimistic. However, I do look at what is happening across the country with COVID-19. It is not a good situation. We are worse off now as a country than we were in April. We are clearly heading in the wrong direction. What does that tell me? If the nation wants to get itself together and put 70,000 people in the stands, you've got to fix this problem with COVID-19. It's a shame that we took a step backwards. I'm just shocked at this. We knew what we had to do. My daughter's a freshman at UConn. She just finished her freshman year in May. Her year was ruined. She had to leave on like March 11th, get out of the dorms, and she never returned for her freshman year of college. And I'm sure yourself, like I am, I remember my freshman year living in the dorm, and damn, it was a good time. So can you imagine the millions of college students across the country who got their freshman year just totally ripped apart? The saddest part about this is, in order for her to go back to UConn and be safe in the dorms, we've got to get COVID-19 defeated. We have to defeat it. We're not defeating it as a nation right now. What does that tell me? Sports is going to be put off. Here, I can't even believe I heard the commissioner of the NBA say, we want to go back, right? They want to tip off, I think it's July 31st. How the heck are you going to have NBA players go to Florida right now? I mean, I'm dead serious. Everyone can pretend that it's just going to happen magically. Are you really, if you have two children, you have older parents, you have a pre-existing condition, you're going to go back on a plane to Florida, which is now the hotbed of COVID-19,
right?
And then you're going to play basketball? Are you kidding me?
Right.
I mean, like it's like they're just not even considering it.
So I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I mean, so what does that mean for college football? I'm Trevor Lawrence. I have $30 million coming up, guaranteed.
Right.
Sir, I am the number one pick of the NFL in 2021.
Regardless, like the only thing that could change it. I'm sorry. The only thing that could change is if he does play and something goes wrong. So why?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Not only does he have ACL injuries, concussion injuries, physical injuries, he now has COVID-19.
Right.
Now, if I'm a parent, and I'm thinking about this with my daughter, I haven't made a decision yet because it's still only July 1st. I don't know if I want her back on UConn campus in a dorm room. That's something I got to figure out, my wife and I and my daughter. But I have a son with $30 million. I'm going to put him in a college dorm room at Clemson?
Right.
Are you out of your minds?
Right.
Like, why would Trevor Lawrence or Travis Etienne, why would they go back to play when they could?
I was going to say the quarterback who might is Trey Lance.
Well, look, I get why some people will make the choice.
Right.
But seriously, $30 million?
Right.
$30 million.
Right.
I'm going to risk for this?
Well, all right. So
no one wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
But that's the reality.
It doesn't seem likely that things are going to be normal. Now, all right. That being said, what are teams doing right now? What are they able to do during, like, have they lifted any restrictions? I know Clemson showed up like a few weeks ago, and now their guys are sick. And
players, 37 players at Clemson tested positive.
Are they what did they do? Were they just in the weight room? Are they practicing? Like,
it's funny. I've not heard what Clemson, as they quarantined the players.
Right.
Did they shut down the program?
Right.
They did not mention that. Has not been told that narrative. So, but would you have your kid right now in the Clemson football program with 37 players tested positive for COVID? I'm not. I wouldn't send my daughter there.
Right.
Honestly, I mean, I'd have to be insanity.
Yeah, I do think there's a different, I think desperation comes into play when making that decision. If your kid's Trevor Lawrence, but what if your kid's like a fringe player, like maybe a fringe NFL player, who needs the work and that's his ticket, that might be a different conversation.
No, every family's going to make their own decision. But people don't want to have a real conversation.
Right.
They're just sitting in la land. Right. First of all, here's the saddest part, gentlemen. These are young men. They don't have health insurance necessarily.
Right.
We don't know the long-term impact of COVID-19 on the lungs. There's some serious research being done, and does it impact age? What if I have asthma? Right. What if I have a pre-existing condition? We don't know. And look, I understand anyone who's desperate. I get it, okay? Right. I understand. Every family is different. Every individual is different. But no one's really having conversations about what the reality of this is. Sending your child into a dorm room with kids in which we know COVID-19 thrives inside.
Right.
We know that for a simple.
All right. Well, let's move a little bit further down the line than what's going to happen, what we feel is going to happen, how things look right now. And it kind of feels a little silly going from that to talking up players, but that's what we got to do. You know what I mean?
I agree. I'm writing all my profiles.
Right.
I'm hoping for the best.
And I mean, this is a tough time, and there is not much going on. So I know that I find peace in things like this. I'm doing my best to stay healthy, keep my family healthy, but I need some semblance of life. And talking about things, that's fine. That's healthy, So let's talk a little bit, because, again, we have another guest, John Byrne, we're going to bring on, talk SFBX. But tell us some names heading into this season, guys that were maybe sophomores last year who are going to be juniors that could be draft eligible, even if there's no season. Tell us some names that we might not know. I think I mentioned one of them a few minutes ago, Trey Lance, who I think a lot of people are going to know after this season. But tell me some names that are under the radar and you think we need to go watch.
So obviously Trey Lance has become the hot guy I would say within the last 3 months, right?
Right.
I had seen the numbers. I think he had a 28-1 touchdown to interception ratio. I had actually watched him in the FCS. If you don't know, he plays at North Dakota State. So they aren't in the FBS. So they're not competing at that highest level. But ESPN does show the FCS playoffs. So I watched him in the semifinals and the finals, and I saw the numbers 28-1 touchdown to interception ratio. I did a little bit of research. I was impressed by him on the field, but he was a redshirt sophomore. He played behind Easton Stick. There's no question the skill level is there. The athletic ability is there from a raw standpoint. But I think it was Daniel Jeremiah or maybe Mel Kiper. One of them had mentioned Trey Lance. And boom, everyone on Twitter, in Twitter world, started to talk about Trey Lance. Look, he is clearly one of the most interesting prospects. You've got to watch him. He's going to probably be a top 15 pick. That's the reality. Now, I'm not putting him over my boy Trevor Lawrence right now.
No.
I mean, to me, that's silly talk. I get it. Hot take. Trevor Lawrence is the number one prospect. Look it. I will admit I've seen 3 games of Trey Lance. I've probably seen 20 games of Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is Andrew Luck and Deshaun Watson in one package. Don't overthink it, folks. Trevor Lawrence is an incredible football player. Simply incredible. He is such a better athlete than people give him credit for. He is everything you're looking for in the modern quarterback. Big, strong, tall, NFL arm. He can throw the football all 3 levels of the field. He can throw it east to west, across the hash marks, and he is gifted with his legs. Gifted. My friends, all you have to do, watch the tape against Ohio State.
Right.
When he had that 66-yard touchdown run, are you freaking kidding me?
Right.
People, do you understand the linebackers and the defensive backs that Ohio State has on that roster, and Trevor Lawrence beat them to the end zone? Are you kidding me? And it was not like one of those, the waters parted for him.
Moses,
he scrambled. He identified the opening. He got to the corner. Then he outran everyone. I mean, and look at guys, watch some of the throws the young man makes. He drops dimes 25, 30 yards down the field. He's a stupendous prospect. And I like Trey Lance, but let's not get silly anymore, folks. Trevor Lawrence is the guy.
All right. Well, so we know Trevor Lawrence, but tell me like 2 or 3 guys we don't know.
Well, I'm going to go then to the guys in the next class, because basically the top 3 are sold rock solid.
Right.
Look, you've got to start watching Sam Howell at North Carolina, folks.
Okay.
Sam Howell is gifted.
Right.
Unbelievably gifted. What Mac Brown has done for the Tar Heels in such a short period of time is mind-blowing. He has 2 legitimate NFL stars at wide receiver. Sam Howell could be the number 1 pick in the 2022 draft. The kid is spectacular. The only thing he doesn't have, he's good in the pocket, but he doesn't have that Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson, Carson Wentz ability with his legs. He's good. He can manipulate the pocket. He avoids the pass rushers, but he's not at that level good. And if you haven't seen him, folks, Keaton Slovis, stay up. You better stay up. You better stay up like I do till 1 a.m. watching USC football. What USC has at the wide receiver position is silly. They're in the same bucket as Alabama last year. They have legitimately 3 number 1 draft picks at wide receiver.
Jesus.
They are simply loaded at wide receiver. And Keaton Slovis has an incredible arm. Now, he's a little bit of a player from the 90s. He's a pure pocket passer. He's not very mobile in the pocket. He actually had like minus 35 yards rushing last year. So he's not like your uber athletic quarterback.
Seems like that's generally like USC. I don't think I could remember the last time they had a mobile.
No, in general they don't.
Yeah.
No, they tend to draft the pocket passer. Now it's ironic because the kid they had, J.D. Daniels, who has since transferred to Georgia, he was more of your dual threat quarterback, but Keaton Slovis beat him out. So now J.T. Daniels is in Georgia, and he'll most likely replace Jamie Newman after this season. Now, my sleeper, and it's ironic because you have the hat on, I'm much higher on Sam Ehlinger than most people. I've seen a couple people have him as a 7th or 8th ranked quarterback. Right now,
he's my 7th round. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, 7th or 8th ranked quarterback. I have him as my number 4 ranked quarterback in this class. I'm higher on Ehlinger than most people. I believe that, remember, no one was talking Joe Burrow this time last year. There wasn't a soul who was telling you that Joe Burrow was going to be the number 1 pick. They weren't even talking about him making the NFL. Sam Ehlinger has more to gain this year than any player on a radar in college football. He has an average arm, but I think arm strength is overrated. He needs to work on his anticipatory throwing, and he needs to read progressions better. But from an athletic ability, command of the offense, leadership skills, and playing the game of football, Sam Ehlinger has it all. And it is imperative that he makes a leap forward. I believe he's going to be a 2nd-round pick next year if he makes the steps forward that I believe he can. People aren't talking about him, but he's a good player. He's better than Tim Tebow. I believe he's much better than Tim Tebow, actually. But he's not getting the credit. And I get it. If you look for pure arm strength, he's not great. But people, I've seen Boomer Esiason win a Super Bowl with average arm strength. Ehlinger has accuracy. He understands the game of football, and he makes things happen with his legs. I am totally going to watch Sam Ehlinger, and I've already seen him play like 12 times in the last 2 years.
That LSU game last year was.
Look, they were just overmatched.
But there was a lot of points. There was a lot of points scored that game.
He played well that game. Now, the weird thing about it is going in, I thought Texas could win the game.
Right.
I didn't know that LSU is going to be one of the greatest teams in the history of college football.
Right.
Because I think that was week 2 of the season.
Yeah.
And look at that. I think it was a shootout like 48-34 or something, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, the Longhorns
they were going toe-to-toe.
Unbelievable. But LSU turned out to be the greatest offense in the history of the game. I mean, we didn't know that.
I don't know about that. I'd put LSU's team from like when Landry was there and Beckham was there and Mettenberger was there. You know, I think I'd take those.
Yeah, but they didn't
wide
know how to
receivers.
use it. They didn't know how to use the talent.
Right. Or even that.
I mean, they might have more talent wide receiver,
Right.
but they didn't use it.
Right.
I mean,
Well, what about that Miami team
right?
with Jeremy Shockey, Clinton Portis,
That's a good
Andre
team.
Johnson, Ken
That's a
Dorsey.
good team, brother.
Yeah,
but they didn't have the quarterback.
Right.
That quarterback was not Joe Burrow.
Right. Well,
Joe
all right.
Burrow's
So
special.
we got our guest coming on quickly, but real quick, I'm gonna no. Are you sorry, man? I brought you on for all this. You don't need to apologize, man.
This has been great.
Listen,
I'm just sitting back soaking it in.
We got Heisman odds, real quick. Okay.
Sure.
Justin Fields is plus 205. Trevor Lawrence plus 400. Derek King, who just transferred to Miami, is plus 1,000. Miles Brennan, LSU plus 1,000. Spencer Rattler plus 1,200. Adrian Martinez plus 1,500. And then I'm just going to read some off names: Jamie Newman, Sam Ehlinger, Bo Nix, Keaton Slovis, Mac Jones, Sam Howell, Chuba Hubbard. Of those guys, and as I went further down, the odds got better. You know, Chuba Hubbard was plus 3,300. Where would you put your money? You know, not just necessarily for the safe bet, but for the fun play that could blow up for you.
So I'm not going to take Justin Fields or Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
It's no return on investment. You know what I'm going to do in this scenario? I'm betting on system. Spencer Rattler, Oklahoma.
Woo!
Period. Lincoln Riley knows what he's doing. Now, it's a risk. We haven't seen him play. But he's a redshirt freshman.
Okay.
And here's what's different. If you've studied Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley, you have Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, and Baker Mayfield are all transfers who came into his system and exploded. The difference about Spencer Rattler is this is the young man that Lincoln Riley recruited and identified. What does that tell me? Lincoln Riley believes that this young man who comes in as a freshman has the skill set and the athletic ability that he's looking for at the quarterback position. And look, he was like an elite 11 top prospect coming. If Lincoln Riley made that decision that Rattler is the guy, I'm going to trust Lincoln Riley knows more about him than I do.
All right, so there you have it. That's where you need to put your money. You don't need to put your money there. We can't tell you have to do that.
Well, no, just no money down.
Plus 1,200. Chuba Hubbard with the plus 3,300. I'm hoping that, you know, the guys like Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Derek King, they all kind of play pretty good, so they knock each other down. That maybe this could be the year of running back wins again. You know, so I'm thinking Chuba might be able to rise because those guys are kind of neck and neck, and they can't justify giving it to one of them. So plus 3,300.
I got one other guy.
Go ahead.
One other guy. Do you have him on your list? KJ Costello. Is he on the list?
Yep, he's right behind Kellen Mond and Ian Book. So it's Chuba Hubbard, Ian Book, Kellen Mond, KJ Costello, Stanford.
Put it on KJ Costello.
Okay, that's plus 4,000.
Hey, man, look, he's in Mike Leach's system. if somehow that air raid, if he can get it to work in the SEC, KJ Costello could be a monster. What if they ever won the SEC, the West Division title?
Right.
Look, that's a good return on investment.
I like Kellen Mond too. He's tough, man.
He is
All right.
good. He's a good player.
I like him. So, all right. That was excellent college football talk. I needed that because I haven't really thought about college football much since all this started. I've been kind of worried. I don't want to think about it because I'm just so scared it's not going to happen. I don't want that thought to kind of settle in yet.
I'm optimistic, and I'm preparing as if we're going to defeat COVID and make it happen. And until otherwise, I'm going to pretend it's happening.
Yes. All right, now we're ready for some SFBX talk. We're bringing in John Byrne. He's sitting there waiting to get in. John, what is happening, my
John?
man?
Hey guys, how are you?
Good,
We're
man.
doing
How are
great.
you?
Cool.
We got our T-shirts on, huh?
You got to, right?
Yeah, got to, man. Look at, I love it.
Yeah,
I got my Vegeta shirt on, so it's not SFBX, but it's still a cool shirt.
It's still a shirt. At least you brought a shirt onto the program.
True.
It's not Topless Wednesday, right?
It's not.
Topless Thursdays.
Any video feed hit Toilets to Titles where John is wearing a shirt is a good video feed.
Listen, John, you're a long-term fantasy football player. You write sometimes. You're a content contributor. Where are your articles when you write?
Well, I just self-publish at the moment.
Oh, hell yeah!
So if you follow me at Byronchenko, I used to write more fantasy soccer. As you can probably tell by the accent, I'm from England. I live in Wisconsin now. Moved for marriage, and yeah, so I mainly just write for myself and just publish to my own blog, really. But if you go to at Byronchenko, my stuff's normally pinned at the top there.
Awesome.
So what part of Wisconsin?
I live in a tiny little town called Trevor. I would pronounce it Trevor, but yeah, it's Trevor. It is just literally 10 minutes from the Illinois border, which makes COVID weird. Wisconsin is a maskless state and Illinois is doing things properly. So, yeah, we go for our pick up of groceries or anything we can do really in Illinois so that we don't feel shamed for wearing a mask. It's a weird situation.
Yeah, right on.
So you're in the Power Wheels division?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, John, what division are you in?
I'm in the Evel Knievel because I'm an old man. And there was nothing better than in the 70s. I remember, man, they used to have like primetime specials and wide world of sports specials of Evel Knievel. And man, that stuff was crazy. Like when he did a rocket over the Grand Canyon, like that was, you got to remember those days. I'm so old. There were only 3 channels. So when Evel Knievel was on, man, everyone in school was watching Evel Knievel. And then I'll never get the one Christmas my mom bought all of us. I mean, it was Santa, but you know what I mean. All of us got Evel Knievel. And we spent hours with our friend, our neighbor, Jim. He had an Evel Knievel. And we tried to get that little toy, spinning it up and trying to get that bike working, but hours. So I said, I want to be in the Evel Knievel. Because if you had to live through it to understand what Evel Knievel was, and there won't be a person like that again. It's just crazy.
Dude, kaboom.
The pop culture.
John, I have a personal question for you too as well.
Yeah.
What class do you teach? Because you are so animated. I would have loved to have had you as a school teacher.
I'm a history teacher, and my
yes.
So my students, I have first period. Most years I've had first period, right? And high school kids, if you know them, at 7:30 in the morning, lethargic is a kind word.
Right.
And they'll be like, Mr. Laub, man, how do you have so much energy? Like, man, I am definitely a morning person. See me around 9 o'clock, and I'm like dying. But man, yeah. So I mean, I get them ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, the best history teachers are the ones that can tell a good story, and I guarantee you tell a great story.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Justin, what division are you in again?
I'm in the Simon division, which I
right.
Completely for strategic reasons because I wanted that 12th spot, and there was only one other person signed up for that division. And Simon frustrates the crap out of me. I was never good at it, but
that's the game, right? Where you hit the things.
Yeah, the red, yellow, blue,
yeah.
green.
We had that game.
Kids have no idea what it was, so
that's the 80s, right? Late 70s, early 80s, probably.
I remember. I was born in '82, and I do still remember seeing commercials when I was 4 or 5 years old.
Okay, so I remember sometime it came out in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah.
All right, so John B., you're in the Power Wheels division, and you picked number 5, correct?
Yeah, I done similar to Justin, really. I wanted to be in the Dungeons and Dragons division. But it was full. Well, I was like 10 spots allocated, and something like 15 people waiting, and it was like, you know what? I want to pick 5. I think the top 5 is Lamar. I mean, does it need said who it is? Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, McCaffrey, Zeke, and Barkley. And I want one of those 5. And then I'll take the next best player that comes around at 208. So 105 seemed pretty empty. So yeah, I looked for a division that was empty. Taglier was 101. I thought, well, it'd be nice to play against Tags. So yeah, went for Power Wheels, despite never having one.
John.
Oh, you never had a Power Wheel?
No, we were poor growing up. We couldn't afford that.
John,
we had a wooden thing.
John L., what pick did you have?
I have number 4.
Right. So we got pick 4, 5, and 12 in here. So this will be great for some interesting discussion in strategy. Now, John L., I'll start with you. How many Scott Fish Bowls have you done?
This is my 6th year, believe it or not. It is definitely the greatest challenge. I love this football league. And first, let's be honest. This is about the kids. Guys, we all want to win, but you know what this is? This is about the kids. Fantasy Cares. What Scott does for those kids is beyond amazing. I look forward to every year seeing when he posts those pictures of buying all of those toys. And the whole time I've been doing it, I've been thinking about the kids at the holiday season. And we understand what's happening economically across this country. It might never be more important than it is this year, because it's going to be very tough for many families and many children across the country. And the first thing that I'll say, I got incredibly lucky as a child. We weren't rich, but you know what? As I said, I had Christmas gifts every year under the tree. You know, we didn't always get what we wanted, but I had gifts looking back. And my parents, I got incredibly lucky with parents who were able to give me those gifts. And when I think about how lucky that is now that I have 3 kids and, you know, seeing their faces and how happy they are, this is about the kids and Fantasy Cares and what Scott does. Yes, I want to compete. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, it's really about those children, making them have a better holiday season late in the year, and especially in the times that we are right now with the unemployment rate and the economy. It might be more important than any other time. But I've got lucky the last 2 years. I've made it to the conference finals.
I was going to ask you next. What's the best you finished?
Last 2 years, I got beat. So in Scott Fish Bowl 9, it was a head-to-head matchup in the conference finals, and I lost, so I didn't get in. Last year, how Scott, and I love Scott's scoring system, it was the top 10 teams of the division made it to the the final, what was it, week 15, I think? And then you had week 16 championship. So in those top 10, I was number 1 on Sunday night in my division. And guess who I lost to? Anyone know what player on that Monday night? Aaron Jones.
Ooh.
The guy was like 20 points behind me. And I didn't think because 20 points was a lot. And Aaron Jones was playing great football. But I had a shot. Right. And then he had that long, I think it was in the 3rd quarter, right? Boom, right. He had something like a 50, and I'm like, And
I can't even watch sometimes like that.
Well, I was in the bedroom with my wife. She's kind of half asleep, and I'm watching my football. And I turned off the TV. She's like, "You're going to bed early." I'm like, Aaron Jones just defeated me.
It's over.
All
right, so Aaron Jones put me to bed.
What was your so did you have like a ranking, like a number you finished in?
No. So let's see. What is last year? I'm trying to think. It was 980 teams. So if there was 10 divisions, so I was in the top 100, I guess.
Okay,
I don't know.
I know
don't think
when I did it, he had like by how many points you scored. Like you were ranked, you know what I mean, in the season. Because when I did it, the best I ever finished was 46th, and that was the Disney year.
Yeah, so I don't think so. The last 2 years, I think I finished somewheres like in my because I didn't look after I lost the playoff game. So let me be honest. But I bet you I finished between like 80 and 110.
Not bad.
Somewhere
Not
in
bad.
that. Because I wanted to get to the finals.
Hell
so
yeah.
once I didn't get there, I was like, okay.
Yeah, you
So
don't
now
want to yourself.
Yes.
I know Justin's never done it before. This is his first year. Now, John B., have you ever done a Scott Fishbowl before? And how many years have you done it, if so?
No, this is my first year. Yeah, I've only actually applied for 2 before, I think. I sort of always seem to miss the boat on it. Like, I'd see it was happening. I'm like, oh, this is a cool thing with all these analysts. It must be a closed book. And somehow I just always missed. Like I said, I'm hugely into soccer as well. So I think it sort of just got missed on my Twitter feed that you can apply. And I'm like, oh, shucks. So, yeah, I think I applied the last 2 years. And then this year, yeah, I won a thing through Trade Addicts Pod. So, yeah, this is my first year. Looking forward to it, obviously. And like John says about the charity element, last 2 years I played in the John Bosch FC Eliminators. And it was great this year. I think he said like he was trying to raise $12,000 or $10,000. And he sent the thing out on Sunday, I think. And it was like 18,000 or 17. And it's like, yeah, like how much do you love to see it?
I love the John Bosch Eliminator. He's a great guy, man. Another great guy.
It must be the name.
I'm sorry. I was just going to ask, I was going to ask you guys what you're looking forward to being, you guys, it's your first time. And then John, what you're looking forward to and like what your favorite things about this are. And, you're to answer that, with the kids and being that, the money is going, in that direction. But now Justin and John B, from the outside looking in the past few years, what is something that intrigued you, about this competition? John, why don't you start?
Well, just seeing the huge community of it. And yeah, I've felt that since I started applying for it and even more so since being accepted into it. Just like everyone's so supportive. The group chats are great and like supportive. Everyone's recommending, strategies and here's a mock draft. Here's a strategy guide. And it's just the amount of new people that I've come into contact with on Twitter that I probably wouldn't have come across, not seeing stuff retweeted, not seeing their articles being posted. I mean, the charity thing's great. That's obviously number one. But just like the community aspect of it, seeing all the, great work people do that would probably go unnoticed if not for it all being brought together by Scott.
How about you, Justin?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right in line with the two Johns. Byrne here, John Byrne is he and I actually contact each other through one of those chat groups that he's talking about, the Scott Fishbowl chat groups. That's how I got a hold of them. So, and again, this is a complete stranger that I've never met before that sees what we're doing, that wants to come on and talk about this. Like, it's just such an amazing community. And last year was the first year I attempted to get on to Scott Fishbowl because I didn't even know it existed before then. So, because I just recently got into Twitter about a year and a half ago. So, and
you're already at 2,200 followers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I had a lot of help along the way there. That's for sure. It certainly wasn't because of my devastating good looks and that sort of thing.
Might be.
But anyway, so I tried last year and I tried really late and I didn't get in. And then I went to the website after, because I did go on and I tried to apply, but I went back to the website and I started searching around because I thought maybe, because I knew a couple of people in one of my chat groups that were in it from another league. So I thought I'd look it up, see if I could see their stats or anything. And then it's like John Laub said, like I started seeing all these pictures of all these gifts, like a dozen people there standing in front of all these toys that they're buying for these kids. And that's when it hit me what this thing was really all about. So it actually inspired me to start a league last year, a charity league where we were able to raise, I think it was $400 that we were able to give to Fantasy Cares. And that made me feel really good. And I'm like, that's what this is all about. And that's why I need to get involved with this. And I was fortunate because I didn't actually get an actual, like a Scott Fish invite. I got in through Ray G at Destination Debbie, so I like to give him a plug any chance I get, because I had listened to his show before. Now I'm listening all the time, obviously, because
great show.
Yeah, he did. He hooked me, but he does have a great show. It's incredible. So yeah, like they said, it's all about the kids, and that's why we're having fun with it.
The kids and the community and everybody lifting each other up. Clearly, bringing the joy to the kids is lifting them up, and then as for the adults, being able to do that, is lifting everybody up, and then working together. It just seems like it's got multiple avenues of positiveness, and it's pretty incredible, watching this happen, and then watching like Justin, you've only been on Twitter for a year, watching people kind of jump into this community and things like this kind of take over, and people just dive in, and the community grows more, and people that were never talking before are now co-hosts on a podcast. It's just incredible watching this happen. But now let's get into a little bit of strategy. Okay, the draft is July 6th. It's a few days away, and I do know when you guys pick. So I'm going to ask you, we're going to talk about players in a little bit. I'm going to talk about your ideal first round selection in a little bit. But right now, I'm going to ask you specifically, hey, I'll start with Justin, and then you guys will get where I'm going. Justin, you pick number 12. How do you feel about picking from the 12 spot? Was that ideal for you? I know you kind of mentioned it earlier, but are you confident? How do you feel about picking from the 12 spot?
It was my preference, and I was very confident in it because I saw the scoring format, and I thought I would have a huge advantage looking at the scoring format ahead of time and studying it and being nice and prepared. And I knew I was going to take Dak Prescott, and I knew I was going to get George Kittle, because who would have thought that Debo was going to get this injury, and now all of a sudden Kittle and Dak are both being drafted ahead. So I was extremely confident until about 3 days ago, and now my entire world is falling to crap, and I wish I would have fallen back to about 7 or 8, maybe earlier than that. So yeah.
All right, so you're not too confident. Hopefully, a little further in the episode, we talk strategy and we can help make you feel more confident. John Laub, you're picking from the 4th spot. How do you feel about that? Is that what you wanted? You feel confident? Has your attitude towards pick 4 changed throughout the process? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, I like that spot. I'm hoping that when the 2 big quarterbacks fall to me, it's going to be fascinating to see how people rank the upside points scored in Scott Fish Bowl with Lamar and Mahomes, as opposed to the value of the running back at the position. I will say this: whoever falls to me, I'm completely comfortable from that moment on drafting and organizing my team.
I'm going to ask you specifically in a few minutes. I'm going to ask you players' names. So
okay.
Just don't.
I feel great.
Good. Now, John B., you're picking from the 5 spot. Is that what you wanted? Do you feel confident in that? How are you feeling?
Yeah, that was my plan. Yeah, like I say, I think the top tier ends at 5. I mean, you could make an argument that the top tier ends at 3. But again, that seemed a lot busier than 5. So I thought I'll take 5, and then I'll know where I'm planning from. From the mocks I've done, I think I've done 6, or I'm in 6. Some of them are very late rounds now.
Are you going to get into who you've gotten?
No, I was just going to say, strategy wise.
Okay. Because I could lead this into that, because everybody's kind of gone. So now I was going to ask next, what's your ideal first round selection? So, keep going on what you were talking about, and then you could carry it on to that. I want to know, if this player falls to me, I'll be happy. If this player doesn't fall to me, or if these players go before I'm up, I'll be pissed. So you can further elaborate there.
So I wouldn't really say that I'd be pissed if anybody went. In a perfect world, for me, Patrick Mahomes is 1-1.
Right.
I know CMC will be 101, but I want Patrick Mahomes. I think he's the safest quarterback. I think he's the highest upside. Maybe the second highest upside quarterback with Lamar, but I think he's the safest quarterback, certainly, in the format. And I have got him in one mock, one of the John Bosch best balls, which I was very surprised by. I've got Lamar in 2. I'm expecting to get Ezekiel Elliott. That seems to be more consensus. In the other 3, I've got Zeke. So between 105, 208, I want to go running back, certainly one of the 2, and probably quarterback with the other 1. On 305, it's...
I was just going to say, so you're thinking about going quarterback in a second. I pulled up some ADP. It's 12 team. So around the 24 spot, you know, I don't know how to feel about this ADP because it has Dak there being available. Dak and Kyler, which
he will not be available.
let me check out this other ADP here because, you know, that one, I'm trying to give you a few names. Might be available at that spot, and I want to see how you feel about it going running back, quarterback here. I'm sorry, just pulling it up. All right, so around, you know, pick 212. Yeah, this has Kyler going back, falling to 212 as well, or 211. It's got Breeze going 2.5, Watson going 2.4. Have you guys seen that at all on any of the mocks you've done?
So me and Justin done a mock the other night, I think, and I got Kyler at 3.5, which If I get Kyler Murray at 305, I would be very surprised. I'm not really planning on taking 2 quarterbacks in the first 3 rounds, but if Kyler Murray falls to 305, I'm going to take it. True, if I don't start with a quarterback in round 1, I would probably take him at 208 as well. Okay,
so all right, so that's not too far-fetched. I'm sorry, by looking at your guys' reactions, I thought you meant that, you know, seeing Kyler there would be a little far-fetched. So you're hoping to get a guy like Zeke, and you're hoping to get that quarterback in the second round. Now, John Laub, you know, from your spot, I want to know, you know, you'll be happy if player X falls to you. You'll be upset if player X, Y, and Z get taken before you're up.
I definitely want 1 to 2 quarterbacks. That's what I'm hoping. But I think it will be Barkley will probably be the one. But I really want Lamar or Patrick Mahomes because I think I made it to finals with just Joe Mixon in my backfield last year. And I had scraps. I mean, I put Bo Scarborough in there. I'm trying, man. I'm just, when I say scraps, I mean literally scraps. So I think I can piece together running backs later in the draft if I get that high end explosive quarterback. And remember, the reason why to me this is important, you don't have to win every game. In order to make the postseason, points scored matters. Scott rewards points scored. So you get one of those explosive quarterbacks, and if they play I think Scott has 12 weeks of the regular season, and if they're putting up between 28 and 35 points every week, that is going to be such an astronomical boost to your bottom line of total points scored. Because obviously it's fun to win the head-to-head, but you've got to get into the postseason tournament. So I'm always looking at points scored, starting lineup decisions. I think people don't understand how important those 2 things are on a weekly basis in this league. Am I starting the right guys to maximize my points? And am I still in those top 3 or 4 for total points scored in my division? In my league, I'm sorry, it's division.
So you want to get that. You want to get that quarterback, right? Because we're going to talk strategy, you know, for the whole draft. But right now, the first 2 rounds. So say Lamar goes, say Mahomes goes. Is there a quarterback at 5 you will take, or once those 2 are gone, you're going somewhere else?
I am not taking any of those quarterbacks over the top running backs.
Okay, so even if Lamar or Mahomes are there, you're not taking them over running back.
No, I can't go Dak Prescott that early. I can't go.
No. I said even if Lamar and Mahomes are there, you won't go one of them.
No, I'm definitely going Lamar.
Okay. I'm sorry, I just wasn't sure.
No.
All right,
those are my ideal situation. The 2.
So you're upset if both of them are gone. You're happy if one of them is there. Okay.
Yes, I'm
Now,
sorry.
if it comes down to those guys are gone, it comes down to Zeke or Barkley. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Barkley.
Okay.
I've already, in the Football Diehards magazine, we did our bold predictions, and I have Barkley as the fantasy MVP this year. I think the Giants, they made significant upgrades on that offensive line. I expect Daniel Jones to take a leap forward. They have weapons on the outside. If Evan Ingram, knock on wood, if he can stay healthy, I love Saquon Barkley this year.
Yeah, it's funny because we were just talking about that last episode. I was telling Justin, I think this is the year he breaks out. So Justin, first round, you were upset if player XYZ is gone. You're happy if player X happens to fall into your lap.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to speak directly to Snack Dealer, who is commenting right now on YouTube. Just let him know that I'm not a bot here. We are chatting, so thanks for watching. We appreciate you. But yeah, so like I said earlier, my big hope is that Dak and Kittle will be there. With this format, I think after those top 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks, you're going to be seeing a lot of games where your quarterback comes out of a week scoring 2 or 3 points, or even negative points in some cases, and you don't want that from your super flex, much less your number one quarterback spot. So having that great quarterback that's going to get you week in and week out points, so that's real important. And that really opens you up for your super flex later on. So yeah, I definitely want Dak, but if Dak's not there, I'm going to take a quarterback at that 1-2 turn because I'm just so scared of what that second and third round's going to look like by the time it gets back to me. And then Kittle, of course, with that point advantage for the tight ends, or that extra half a point. Plus, he's going to be a first down monster with Debo out. So that's the ideal situation. I've found a lot though lately with more recent mocks that those two aren't there, and I'm going with a totally different direction than what I had really hoped to go for. So obviously, probably Russell Wilson would be next there on my list, and then maybe a Joe Mixon or Derrick Henry, a top running back or something like that. Because there are a lot of great tight ends later on in the draft that I could always look at too.
All right,
Justin,
so
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You're absolutely right about that quarterback, because I've been doing a lot of analysis on this scoring system this year. In the past, you always had to have the second quarterback in your super flex position. Guys, it is a disaster if you have to start some of these bottom level guys. They can get you 0 points. And I'm going to use an outlier, but this is going to happen this year. Remember Sam Darnold on that Monday night against the New England Patriots, and Jameis Winston on that Saturday afternoon against the Jacksonville Jaguars, where he threw the 2 pick sixes on the first 2 plays of the game? That is minus 12 points. And you're on Saturday at 12 o'clock, and you're in a 12-point hole. And Sam Darnold that night, when he said he saw ghosts, and I think that was exaggerated. Belichick just outthought him, and but the point is,
I think that got hyper analyzed.
It did. It got way too hype.
He was talking throwing figures of speech out there. I thought I saw something that I didn't see. That's what he said.
Yes, and he's 21 years of age, and he lost to the master. He lost to the master, Bill Belichick.
People have too much time on their hands to critique somebody saying I saw ghosts. Yes, he thought he saw something that wasn't there. He made a mistake. But sorry, go on.
So I actually think why I want one of the 2 big quarterbacks. You get them. I might not even start another quarterback in the Superflex. I'm not putting Derek Carr in there. Are you out of your mind?
But you did say earlier that you score points, you get rewarded. This might be an opportunity for somebody who's a little more ballsy than somebody else. Some people might play it safe, and playing it safe is great, but there's going to be people who are going for it. There's going to be a person who plays Josh Allen in the Superflex, even though there's a chance he might throw, throws. And I think it just adds a dimension of people who are going to go for it or people who are going to play it safe. And I think Josh Allen just another level. But
I think I'm talking about guys ranked 20 to 32.
I get it. I just think it's an opportunity for people to go for. you know?
Yes.
And
Sam Darnold will have a good game.
Right.
He'll have a good game, but do you start him that week?
So let's now, we have some listener questions.
The other John says no.
We have some listener questions that we want to get to, but before we get to listener questions, I'm going to start with the other John. Have you developed a strategy, for after this first round? Because the first round, I feel like, is a whole different draft in itself, right? The first round, and then it's the rest of the draft. Have you came up with a strategy for how you're going to develop your team, or how you're going to build your team, or how you're thinking going into the everything after the first round?
Yeah. So after the first round, basically, I think you got to look at it in basically groups of 5 or 6, and through 5 rounds, I don't want more than one wide receiver. Like, there's some great values that do end up falling. Devontae Adams has fell to 208. Tyreek Hill's nearly fell to 305 in some of the mocks I've been in, but I think you just leave yourself hamstrung by doing so. So I want to leave the first 5 rounds, with 2 elite running backs if possible, or what I regard as top 12, top 14 running backs, a very, very good and safe quarterback, and a good tight end, a very good tight end, obviously, if it's first 4 rounds. And then round 4 or 5, take an Odell Beckham, take an Allen Robinson. If you can try and I've been getting a lot of Juju in the 6th at 608, which seems staggering to me for a guy who's going to get 130 targets, 120 targets, maybe conservatively. Hopefully they're not from Duck Hodges or Mason Rudolph, but a target's a target to some degree. But yeah, basically I want to leave that with 1 wide receiver. And then from there on, I'm hoping I've got a tight end and a quarterback sorted. And 5 through 10, 5 through 11, I want to hit running back, wide receiver. Ideally more wide receiver, because I think the running back gets real ugly, real sharp. I don't want to rely on Raheem Mostert. I don't want to rely on David Johnson not being what he was last year. I don't want to rely on David Montgomery. I'm going to try to have Zeke and Miles Sanders, Zeke and Josh Jacobs.
So what's the difference between Miles Sanders and David Montgomery?
Offense, production. Miles Sanders was 1,600 all-purpose yards last year.
I just don't think they're as far off as people make them seem right now. I think Montgomery can get it done if he gets the opportunity. But okay, so continue on.
Yeah, so that's roughly through 1 through 5, 1 wide receiver, 6 through 11. Fill your wide receivers up. Try and take some upside tight ends. Try and take some upside running backs. I'll be targeting, I think my 2 that I have highest above ADP are Hunter Henry and Mike Williams. But the tight end run is such a peculiar thing that it's just so hard. You're picking at 5 and 8. And if Hunter Henry and Evan Ingram go on the turn, well, I'm not taking Tyler Higbee in the next stage. And then it's like, well, what if Tyler Higbee goes at the next little turn and Gesicki goes or Gronk goes? And then you end up sort of trying to catch yourself. So tight end's one that I'm most willing to live and let live with it. If I can't get Andrews or Ertz early, because I'm not getting Kittle or Kelsey. Tight end's my most live and let live position. Quarterback 2, as John was saying, very much just live and let live. I have a sneaky thing. I'd love to get Gardner Minshew. I have him 26 places higher than his ADP on my ranks, but these ADPs can be a bit funky.
Oh, yeah.
And, the Scott Fish Bowl is 1,440 people, and there's 12 people in your division. It only takes 1.
Yeah. Every Scott Fish Bowl I've been in, my draft has gone so much different than what I've expected. Like, players felt to me that, prior to the draft, I never mocked to myself once.
Yeah, and I have Minshew 26 places higher, so it's like, well, that's a slam dunk. That's 2 rounds. Well, what if someone has him 28 places higher?
Right. Well, if you like a guy, especially in something like this, you got to get him. You got to go get him.
Yep. So yeah, that's my rough philosophy. Fill up on wide receivers and upside running backs in the middle rounds. I mean, if David Montgomery does fall far enough to me, I'm not saying I hate David Montgomery. Kareem Hunt's another one that I'm a lot lower on than ADP, and the talent's there. I'm a little unsure of the situation. I'm lower on Chubb as well, just because I think the sort of one might shine. They both might be mediocre. Not mediocre, not going to be mediocre, but they might be both hurting each other a lot. Right. And it seems to be not too baked into either that might be the case.
Right.
So yeah, there's a lot of the, 15 to 24 running backs I'm lower on, but then above that I'm higher on some other ones. That I'll probably be getting in the 8th downwards or 7th downwards.
So it sounds like you want to be safe at quarterback. You want to be safe at running back. You want to have, at least one tight end, but you're not necessarily going to reach for him. And then wide receiver is the position that you feel is the deepest. And it's funny, we have a question a little further down the episode. We're going to talk about wide receiver depth towards the end of the episode because we are almost wrapping this thing up. But I think that's a very solid strategy. John Laub, what's your philosophy or strategy going into this draft?
First, you got to get your quarterback in the first 2 rounds. You cannot get stuck at the quarterback position. There is too much risk. Now, you'll make a decision, super flex, the value, who you're going to start. I get that. And I live and let live. John said it perfectly. If I can find value, like I'm high on Joe Burrow, if I could have him as my second super flex quarterback at the right price, I would be happy. But I'm not going to overpay. I'm not going to search for that second quarterback. I'm going to let that player fall to me for value. But once I get outside of my top 20, it is really scary at the quarterback. Now, what I would say, both of you alluded to it. I don't worry about ADB and Scott Fishbowl. I learned that in my first draft. I was blown away with a 2x4 at the back of my head. I could not believe what was happening. I was like, I've never seen this before. I had never been in anything like that before. If you like your guy, go out and get him.
Bingo.
Our man John just was talking about tight ends. Dude, if you like Mike Gesicki, go out and get him in round 7. You cannot wait to say, oh, he's an ADP, round 9 or 10. Guess what? Someone else in the Scott Fishbowl, you don't know who he is going to like Mike Gesicki in round 8. And then you're like, you've got to go and get your guy and feel confident in your guy. As an example, 2 years ago, I was ranked out of the 840 teams. Some dude said I had the 810th draft because he was ranking them off of ADP. I finished in the conference finals. I was like 8-4. I went all the way into the conference finals in the top 100. Don't worry about ADP. Don't worry about other people's analysis. No one ever likes my team in the Scott Fishbowl. Ever. They will never say I drafted well. Ever. Because I don't give a crap. Last year I took Dak Prescott round 2. I got shit. Excuse my language. I got crap for it. People are like, you're out of your mind. I love Dak. I did not care what anyone said. I took Dak Prescott. You go and get your guy.
If you're going to spend the time to do your own rankings,
what are you not using them for?
You got to trust them. You got to. Who cares? Because the thing is, you're going to win or lose because of yourself. So, well, if we want to get deep, not because of yourself, because of players that you're starting that are playing a game that you're not doing. But you're going to win or lose because of the players you picked. No one's going to hold your hand.
Gardner Minshew round 3, my friend. But you know what I mean. If you like,
and don't let whoever's in your division listen to this episode. Don't let them listen to this episode so they know that you want Gardner Minshew, because then you'll be in trouble. All right, so I like John. It seems like go get your guy. And the other John, he feels like there's depth later on at wide receiver. So go get your guy. You can wait a little bit at wide receiver. Justin, is there anything you need to add as far as strategy that you think can kind of help?
The only thing I'm a little bit different from the other Johns is that as important as I said those top 6, 7, 8 quarterbacks are, I think if you can get a second one, like I get that a lot of people I'm talking to are punting that the second quarterback and they're just going to start something else in the super flex. I think it is a huge advantage if you can get 2 of those quarterbacks points wise and have one in that super flex. in that third round coming back if it's still there. So I'm going to still go after a Aaron Rodgers or a Matt Ryan or somebody that's more steady and take the hit at another position, because there is so much depth at wide receiver and tight end later on to possibly help make up for that other flex anyway.
So you're thinking like 1-3 quarterback, 2-4 running back, possibly.
Yep.
I like that. All right. Done with the strategy, done with all my questions. We have a few listener questions I want to get to, as we're wrapping up. The first listener question was from @JC Crocker. John Crocker from the Clock Dodgers show, contributor to playerprofile.com. He's a friend of Justin Stevens. He wants to know, who are the tight ends that you believe can be had late? Leave the floor open. Anyone want to jump in and shoot it out there?
My favorite by ADP certainly is Blake Jarwin. Cobb and Witten have left so many targets. I know vacated targets doesn't necessarily go to a player, but he's got the profile. He fits. He knows the system. CD Lamb might take some getting up to speed with a shortened training camp. I just think he's a great value. You can get him in round 10, 11, no problem. So he's one of my later round ones.
Laub, you got somebody?
I do. I'm higher on him than most. Jonnu Smith. I'm getting him everywhere I can. I've had 12 drafts. I own him in 8 leagues so far. I know his price is going to go up over the summer. Incredible athlete, great college film, very good production at Florida Atlantic, and he is the second best pass catcher on the Titans. Forget about Corey Davis now. He's a flyer. I get him in round 15, 16. I'll take it. But the pecking order is A.J. Brown, Jonnu Smith. I love Jonnu Smith this year.
Justin, you got a guy?
Yeah, I am going to get something a little more stable than this guy, like a Hunter Henry or something like that in the earlier rounds, like 6 to 8, something. But with my last round pick and almost every single mock and maybe even a round or two before that, just to be safe, I'm going with Jay Sternberger of the Packers.
Ooh, I like him too.
And it's deep. I know it's deep, but that's why you got to get something a little more steady early. But I've got high hopes for this guy to break out. Just simply judging by the one playoff game and what Aaron Rodgers says about him, he really seems to trust that guy. And if Rodgers is going to trust you, especially an angry Rodgers, potentially, I think
there's the
opportunity.
I think there's the issue of like, who else?
Yeah,
that's for somebody.
Yeah,
is Mercedes Lewis gonna be catching balls this year?
Oh my God, he's still on the roster, right?
Well, I only realized he was. I was using the
Mercedes 35.
I was going through the 4 first down projections, and I see Mercedes Lewis. I'm like, they don't have free agents. He's still with Green Bay. Okay. And a few deeper tight ends that I like. You can probably get in the last round of any draft you do. Is Caden Smith at the Giants? Yeah, we can touch wood for Evan Ingram as much as we like. But
that means something different over here in the States. You better watch.
We can knock on wood. Knock on wood if you're with me. We cross our fingers. Caden Smith, when Evan Ingram was out last year, I think he finished as tight end 8 in the last 6 weeks of the season. Yeah, he's not a proven, he's not a guarantee, but in round 21, and the 2 Arizona tight ends, Max Williams and Dan Arnold, they're probably going to be very low targets, but can they hit a couple of weeks? Again, you're talking around 2021, 22. I'm happy to take a shot on at least 2 of those 3 guys.
If I'm looking for a second tight end and I already have somebody I'm comfortable with, a guy I really like is Dallas Goedert. I have him in like 3 or 4 of my fantasy leagues. 2 of them are tight end premium, and he helped me win championships in both of them because the guy just produced. Even when Ertz is on the field, Goedert produces. So if he's my tight end too, I'm in great position. All right, now
a mock that John and I did last night, or was it either last night or the night before? The guy that took Ertz actually did take Goddard later on too.
That's smart.
Okay.
That's smart.
But that's kind of, if I'm doing that, that's like I'm getting a handcuff.
Exactly.
I don't know if I want to handcuff my tight end. I think teach their own.
I've never seen it, but when I saw that, for whatever reason, that made sense to me.
Okay.
I don't know.
There
Maybe
is
it was
some
the way his roster was set up. I don't know.
Now
there is some flexibility we've got it as well, even with Ertz.
Yeah.
Like, it would take a weird week. You might be struck on bye weeks or something, but I wouldn't feel too terrible plugging them both in tight end premium.
right. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like I said a few minutes, like, you know, even with Ertz on the field, he produces. So, I mean, I could see that. Now, 209 at 2 TWOOHNINE. He's asking a question. Is it worth taking a wide receiver in the first 4 rounds, considering the value at wide receiver later in the draft? I think John B answered this earlier on. There's so much depth there. Are you guys fine waiting until post round 4 to take a wide receiver? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Ooh, okay, John. So where do you think you need to, like, so give me like I know you can't list them all, but where's the cutoff? Where's the cutoff at wide receiver that you're not happy if you don't get, you know, a player after this player? You know what I mean? Like the top 10 wide receivers. Like, who's that 10th wide receiver that after him, you know, you're not happy unless you get one of them?
Well, before I digress, everything's about value. If Tyreek Hill is there in the 3rd round, I'm getting him. I don't care. I mean, people are gobbling up running backs, and Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams fall, I'm drafting them. I mean, so even though you're in general, I tend to agree. Everything's about value. Right. Now, I like the big 6, and that, to me, is Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, and Kenny Galladay. Now we can
Galladay in the top 6. I like it.
I'm in love with Galladay.
Okay,
absolutely.
And you said it so like matter of factly that I like that.
Hey, let me make a note real quick.
What? Oh, look at, man, I've had him the last 2 years in the Scott Fish Bowl. Now there's the guy 2 years ago. I took Galladay in round 5, and people are like, "Are you on crazy?" I'm like, no, Galladay's going to be a stud.
Are you on crazy?
Last year, I think I took him in round 4.
I wish. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but when we get our soundboard, I want to make a drop of John Laub saying, "Are you on crazy?" We need to cut that. We need to clip it. We need to put it anytime someone says something out of control. Are you on crazy?
Well, I wanted to say, "Are you on crack?" But I remember that I'm on a gentleman's
I like the way you said it. It was perfect the way you said it.
Are you on crazy? So to me, it's all about the value. And any of those 6 are around in the 3rd round, I'm taking them.
Okay.
That's just I can't let those guys go in the 3rd round. I mean, you know, so let's take it to the absurd, right? You're in round 3 and you're looking at pick 8. I'm going to take Le'Veon Bell ahead of Kenny Galladay. Are you stone cold crazy? There's no way.
Are you on crazy?
There you go.
There's no way I'm doing
Austin
that.
Eckler, in this mock, Austin Eckler went 3.8 and Kenny Galladay went 3.9. Edwards-Helaire went 3.5.
I would say that it depends on roster construction. I would be more comfortable with Galladay than Eckler. Now, I have not seen that happen. Eckler's usually a 2nd-round pick. However, Scott Fishgold can blow you away at any day. So, depending on roster construction, if I only had 1 running back, I would probably take Eckler. Okay. If I already had 2 running backs, there's no question I would take Kenny Galladay.
All right. Well, hey, I mean, this was a bunch of knowledge. You know, we're wrapping this thing up. We have one last question, and then I want to tie a bow on this and call it a day. Our buddy Shane Hallam at Shane P. Hallam, he wants to know, does Carolina and Tampa Bay having their buys during the league playoffs affect how we are drafting these players?
I want to defer this question specifically to John Laub because I understand with the way that the playoffs are structured, with myself and Byrne being new, we don't have a lot of experience with this playoff structure. So this was an interesting question to me. I had to get it in the notes.
It's a great question. Now, I will say this. I believe week 13, both those teams have off, right? The regular season of weeks 1 to 12. I've got to make the playoffs. Now, remember, I believe the top 10 teams in each division get a bye week. So in the Scott Fish Bowl, there is no way I'm passing up Christian McCaffrey because I'm worried about week 13. Christian McCaffrey could get me to the bye week. So now, Shane, I hope this isn't chicken out. I would not take 3 of those guys because 3 players on those 2 teams might be a little bit risky, but I would feel okay. Let's say I had Christian McCaffrey and Adam Thielen in round 5. I'm not going to pass up Adam Thielen at that value, right? Because it was Minnesota, right? Didn't he say
Carolina and Tampa?
No, Carolina. So let
Carolina
me
and Tampa Bay.
Let's say I deep. No, I don't want the same 2 teams. Carolina and who was the other one then? I'm sorry.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa.
Oh, Tampa. So let's say I got. Oh, you see, I would never go 3.
DJ Moore.
Yeah, no, but let's say I got
Mike Evans.
If I got Chris Godwin and DJ Moore, I'd be okay with that. I would take that.
Would you move Allen Robinson ahead of Mike Evans if you have those, for example?
Yeah, I could. Yes, I might not take Mike Evans if I've already gotten DJ Moore. I would go Allen Robinson. Or if I've gotten, let's say I got Christian McCaffrey, I would probably take Allen Robinson over him. Does that mean over Mike Evans?
Because I don't think I'd be comfortable, with 2 of my first 3 picks being.
Yeah, I don't think I could.
Now, if it was later in the draft and say like I got a guy like say I had Christian McCaffrey and I got a guy like Rob Gronkowski later as my second tight end, that's fine. But I wouldn't want guys that I have to count on regularly, But now, if a guy falls to you, like if a Mike Evans falls to you in like the 5th, and you already have like a DJ Moore, you can't pass on that because that value – now in the 7th or 8th, maybe you could reach for a wide receiver, because he fell to you in the 5th. Now I'd feel fine reaching, for like a Darius Slayton or something, to have, or a young, maybe like a CeeDee Lamb, like a younger wide receiver who could break out. Everything has to do with the draft, man. There's so much analysis and anticipation, but it's on the fly. It's all gut check stuff, So
really the answer is to tell everybody that they should be scared and do not draft them just so that you can.
And I will say
just get an all week 13 lineup
and be very patient.
Buy or nothing.
Guys.
Yeah.
very patient.
If I'm not getting a buy, I'm going home.
Because this draft can take a long time.
Gentlemen, I'd like to keep going, but I think we need to, this thing's got to get wrapped up here. John Laub, it's a pleasure getting you on a little early talking college football. I feel like we're going to need to get you on again, like towards the end of July, once we have an idea of what college football looks like so we could really get into analysis and breaking stuff down. Just right now, it's so hard to, given the current climate and circumstances, but it was a lot of fun doing that. John B., it's the first time chatting with you. I really appreciate you coming on, man. It's nice having a different perspective. Justin is another guy who this is his first, and then hearing your perspective as somebody who it's your first, kind of being able to bounce those off of each other. It was great having you on, man. I really appreciate both of you guys.
Oh, I loved it, my man.
Anytime.
Please invite me on anytime.
Remember, you could find John Laub at Gridiron Skull 91. That's at GRIDIRON. Justin put it there at the bottom, but if you're listening on Podbean, it's finishes SCHOL 91. John Byrne, it's at Byron Chenko at BYRONCHENKO. Justin over here is at Justin FF_. Me, myself, I'm at Coach Sheps, and the show is at Toilets to Titles. We're on Podbean, we're on Periscope, we're on YouTube, and we're going to be coming at you live all throughout the offseason and all through the regular season. Eventually, we'll hope to get on iTunes, because I know a lot of you hip cat and kittens have iPhones, and you're going to be wanting to listen to it there. So again, everybody, I appreciate you coming on. Everybody who's listening, I appreciate you listening. I hope you enjoy the show, and good luck, specifically you guys who I'm talking to right now. I feel like I'm a part of the team. So good luck to you guys. I want to see you 3 produce. I want to see all 3 of you finish top 100. That's it. Top 100 or bust, all right?
Hey, you got it. Hey, Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment, and kind of trying to make this our little tagline. Guys, we're all in this together. Just keep loving each other.
Sarah?